In this video, we're going to dive into what Neville said in his own words was one of the most powerful ways of manifesting and bringing anything about in your personal reality. So, as you can see, it's expectancy. And expectancy is something that is so overlooked, and I don't think I've made a video on it, and I feel inclined as of weeks ago to actually make this video. So it's about time we get it out. So let's jump into what today's outline is going to be. As you can see, we have membership announcement in the outline. So yes, by the time you're watching this video, the membership should be live. And if not, it'll be live in a few hours. And we're going to dive into, in the next page, what the tiers are and what they offer and what's coming and what comes with them. So if that interests you, then stay tuned. And if not, feel free to just skip a minute or two ahead and you'll get to where the video starts. Second thing we're going to be diving into is touching on what Neville said was the most powerful way of manifesting, which is expectation. And that includes a couple quotes from Neville and one from Joseph Murphy that all touch on expectation. And throughout the video, I'm going to be talking about how I used expectancy to get my results and how I still use them and the ways that you guys can be applying them too. So remember, get your notebooks out. If anything resonates with you, just write it down and remember these things. Okay, guys, we're here to learn and we're here to apply this. So let's dive right into it. So the first things first is the membership perks. We're going to have two tiers, as you can see, tier 1 and tier 2. And there's going to be a third tier. That's the one that a lot of people are going to love as well, but I'm not going to announce it just yet. It's probably going to come in the coming months. That's the one where we're going to do the book club, where we actually study together with me. You're going to learn to study the way I study, and we're going to break down things together. So you're pretty much going to be studying with me, and you're going to see everything that I extract from each paragraph, and you're going to start seeing life and the law from a different perspective. And that's the one where if you want to know like more than most people that are teaching the law and you want to be able to just know what's true and what's not, then that's the tier for you, but that's coming in the coming months. So first things first, tier 1 perk obviously comes with emojis and badges, and I've already commissioned an artist that made some already, and we're going to be making more, and you guys will have input on that. So obviously you guys get to enjoy that and use that on videos and chat and stuff. We're going to have member only videos. So I'm going to aim for doing at the bare minimum 1 video per week for members. And that's going to be something that's going to be consistent. And that includes, or sorry, that doesn't include the extra video I'm going to have for my public channel. So if you're part of the membership, you're going to get 2 videos at the bare minimum per week. And it might even be more because we're going to give you guys access. If you're tier 1, I'm pretty sure I'm going to give you guys access to watch the replays of the Q&As. And that's another video as well there that you guys are going to get whenever I do them with a tier 2 and tier 3. You also get priority replies to your comments, as you can see. So obviously, if I post anything in a public video or doesn't matter and you have questions, something you want a quick answer to, you're going to get most likely answered over someone that's not a member. I'm not going to say that it's a guarantee you're going to get answered, but I'll do my best to go through all of them. And if I miss any, you can obviously ask them in the community post within the membership if I missed it and it's important, okay? We're going to do a rapid fire coaching video. So we're going to aim from anywhere to do at least at the bare minimum once a month if it's a super busy month. But I'm going to try to aim for doing them at least once every week or every other week, something like that. So you can expect anywhere from 1 to 4 of those every 4 weeks or every month. And that's something that if you guys aren't sure what that looks like, go look at my previous video and that's going to be the format. And I'm going to get better at doing them over time because it's something that I got to kind of figure out how to answer questions without too much detail, but without going too fast. So once I kind of get that fine-tuned, there's going to be a lot more questions covered. And you're going to help shape content, which means you're going to get to vote on stuff. I'll be asking you what kind of video you want me to do for that week, any topics you want me to cover, things like that. And I'll be doing polls and comments and all these things. And all you have to do is give your input. Okay, guys? So you guys get a hand in having custom content made just for you guys. Okay. And let's move on to tier 2. So for tier 2, it's the same thing. Everything you get in tier 1 is already included. And on top of that, you then get weekly Q&As. And this is the part where you guys are going to love. You guys are going to learn the most in those because you're going to get me at the bare minimum. I'm going to be aiming to do a Q&A once a week, not once a month, once every week at the bare minimum. And I'm going to also be doing random pop-ups. What that means is, for example, there's going to be times where I'm not even going to announce that I'm going live. Maybe I have 15 minutes to kill, 20 minutes to kill, 30 minutes to kill, maybe even an hour. And I just want to chill and pretty much chat with you guys and answer your questions. So that means if I do it randomly at 10 in the morning Eastern time and everyone else is working, but only one of you has time to actually sit down and join that live, that pretty much you get one-on-one coaching with me. So that's like a random benefit that I'm going to be throwing in there as well. So on top of the weekly live streams, you're going to also get those random pop-up lives. And the weekly Q&As is going to be just kind of like how my client calls are. Those of you that are my clients, it's the same thing. We sit down, I kind of give you what you need, and then you ask me your questions afterwards before we hang up. And you're kind of going to get that all the time, and that's going to help you guys with your mental diet. And trust me, this reminds you of the TikTok days where I used to do them consistently, and everyone was posting success stories because I was consistently giving them reminders. So it's going to be really cool seeing the snowball effect in the tier 2. And obviously, we're going to add manifestation challenges for the tier 2 members. That's pretty much going to be a challenge that I want you guys to follow for the entire month. And it's something I'll do with you guys. And it's going to be something that keeps us on point for mental diet and helps us get results. So that's pretty much the gist of the memberships and what I'm going to say on the topic. As you already know, I mentioned that tier 3 will be announced in the future. And that's for the book club / study group that really is serious about the law. But trust me, you will learn a crap ton in the tier 2, especially in the Q&As. And we're going to be doing a bunch of, and I forgot to mention, by the way, for the tier 1, I forgot to put it in the actual slide, but there's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, there's also going to be like breakdowns, like law quotes. Like, for example, let's say I'm studying that day and I find an amazing paragraph that I feel inclined to share with you guys. I'm going to post that paragraph and then break down how to apply it and how it works in your life. So you're going to get consistent reminders from me all the time. So remember that, okay, guys? So now, thank you for listening, and let's jump into the whole, pretty much the video. So Expectancy, the master key. And by the way, before we get started, as you already know, I'm Michael from embodytheestate.com. And all I ask from you guys is if you find any value in this video, you learn anything, you feel inspired, your problems feel small because of something you learned. If that's the case, all I want from you guys is just to hit that like button and subscribe. That's all I ask for you guys, because that way it helps reach other people the same way it helped you. It'll help someone else and change their life. So now let's go. Expectancy, the master key, right? I call it the master key. So the first quote is, imagine whatever you desire, believe you will receive it, and go about your business in the world with patience and confidence, knowing, oh, typo, there's an L, knowing your desire will erupt and become a reality. Neville Goddard. So as you already know, wait, can I? Oh, I can't even edit that. Whoopsie. No. Okay, I thought I could edit it. It's like bothering me. But anyways, you'll have to excuse me. So think about that. Let me reread that again, actually. Like, think about it. Imagine whatever you desire. Believe you will receive it and go about your business in the world with patience and confidence. And this is the part, and some of you clients, I share this quote with you all the time because it's so vital when you ask me, oh, is it bad to know something's coming? Because isn't that technically you're out of the wish fulfilled? And that's why I tell my clients, I know where you read that. That's from YouTube and Reddit. And let me tell you, a lot of people that are thinking from that perspective don't really read the books, because if you read the books, you'll come across quotes like this. You'll come across his literature in the lectures from many authors that all talk about knowing something. Even the way Neville's mentor, Abdullah, talked about expectation, where he literally said, I did it, I'm doing it, I'm going to continue to do it until that which I have done manifest. Doesn't that apply to the quote we just read, where the part where it says, knowing your desire will erupt and become a reality? And that's something that I literally didn't realize I was doing when I first discovered the law. And when I first discovered the law, all I wanted was financial freedom. And I wanted, at the time, my ex back. And, you know, for me, it's like I discovered the book, The Feeling is a Secret by Neville Goddard. And that was my first introduction to his work. And when I read that book, I was so intrigued by it because I saw what was in the book and how it applied to my life, like throughout my whole life. I looked back at the bad things in my life, and then I went back to the memories of what I was feeling and thinking leading up to those events. And lo and behold, I was like, oh my God, I was feeling the result before I got it. So I guess feeling is a secret, and I saw the evidence of it. So right then and there, that something clicked in my brain where I understood, hey, if I keep feeling like I'm the person who has the desire, in other words, I'm aware of having it, and on top of that, as a bonus, I feel the emotions of it. Because I tell you guys, emotions are not necessary, but Seth especially, and Neville as well, but Seth talks about how emotions do accelerate your, in other words, the manifestation from coming. And the way Neville says the same thing is that he says, and I believe it's Awakened Imagination or At Your Command. I'm pretty sure it's one of those two, where he mentions that it's one of his earlier books, that the emotion and is what fuses you with the state. And that kind of is on par with what Seth talks about. So when you understand, wait a minute, and when I look back and I got my results all within two of those results, which that I listed of the goals I wanted within 6 days. And I always talk about those moments because that was the only time I knew nothing about the law. And after that, I was studying 8 hours a day, like 6 to 8 hours a day for months, because once I saw those results, something clicked in me. Like I became obsessed. I had to understand this. To this day, I still study every day, but I wasn't studying like I was back then. And so I look back and I'm like, wait a minute, what did I do to get my ex back and financial freedom all within a week of discovering the law? Because I wasn't qualified to have the money that I was making. Trust me, it made no sense. I was like, this doesn't make sense. But once again, like if I'm God and what I do within me gets reflected and it's up to higher self to figure the hard part out, then it's like, okay, like I don't have to do anything but identify with what's already created. So the way I extracted what was in the book that I read and how I viewed the law was very simple. It was, okay, if I feel a emotion of having something, then that must be what he's talking about. Little did I know he wasn't really talking about emotion when he says feeling, but that's how I viewed it at the time. So I was like, hey, if I feel this emotion, it must be that I did something right. If I feel the emotion, I'm having it. And if I keep feeling the emotion, that means I am living by the law, because I'm not feeling the opposite emotion, meaning lack or fear. So if I'm not feeling lack or fear, and I'm either neutral or in fulfillment, it's one or the other, that means technically I've spent more time returning to having than I have spent more time returning to not having. So technically I'm living by the law, and therefore the law must reflect, like I must reflect this experience. And because I knew I was living by the law, then I had this expectation that, hey, everything I'm doing that's in this book, it like matches. So therefore it has to be given to me. And then it made me think of, oh yeah, I'm living by the law, so it's on the way. And because I fully trusted it was on the way, just even that thought of knowing it's coming put me right back into the wish fulfilled. And I didn't realize at the time, but it was like I was like recycling fulfillment. I was using it over and over again in a fun way without effort, because I understood, hey, I'm doing the work, and therefore if I'm doing the work, that means the 3D has to catch up because I'm catching up. So once that happened, and I told myself, I don't know what day it's going to be. I don't know when I'm going to get her back or the money. In other words, the financial freedom. I had no idea if it was going to be day 1, day 7, day 12, day 30. I just didn't have an expectation of it being soon, to be honest, because I thought it at least needed a couple weeks to catch up. That's what I thought. But lo and behold, no, I was just so consistent day after day. On day 1, every time I thought about her, I went straight to the wish fulfilled. I went specifically, not all the time, but oftentimes I went to the moment that it's like I received that message, what I think it would feel like to receive that message where she finally tells me, like, let's get back together, or we're finally back. And when I thought of that moment at the time, it was pure bliss and gratitude. So I kept returning to gratitude in different ways. And on day 1, I didn't see any text from her and no movement. But I didn't care, because I fully trusted that because I'm doing the work, it has to come. And that ties in with the first quote where he says, the last part where it says, knowing your desires will erupt and become a reality. I knew, because I kept feeling gratitude for having her, that I am then living by the law. And that means the 3D has to catch up to match what I'm doing dominantly within myself. And that's why I use that first quote and to share with you guys, because that debunks the whole concept of, oh, you have to be in the wish fulfilled the whole time or else it's not going to work. And that's BS, guys. Neville's mentor, including Neville himself, looked at the 3D with the understanding that yes, it's not here, but because I keep feeling like I'm the person who has it and I keep returning to that awareness, not holding it. Remember, it's not about holding it. It's about returning to it and just dwelling in it for as long as it naturally lasts. But because I kept doing that, once again, I knew it had to be reflected from within me. So therefore, I had an expectancy where by the time I hit day 2, I was like, this is so good. So now I'm on day 2 of doing everything perfect. And then when day 3 came, I had this bliss. I was like, I don't care. I know it's going to come. And because I keep doing the work, and it might be today, it might be next week. I don't know. And I remember just going to work, long story short, and within 10 minutes of arriving at my job site, we were back together. And that was the second manifestation I ever had. And that was my second success, which then, pretty much made me who I am today, which is why I'm here teaching. Because once I experienced 2 in a row, I had to tell the world. Like, I had to understand the law as best as I could and then teach it to the world, because I wanted to scream it from the rooftops. And that's why I'm sitting here making these videos for you guys, because you guys can have the same results, okay? So with that being said, I hope you guys kind of like that quote. And remember, like, that quote actually, it's like one of my favorites. Sometimes I even have that quote, not anymore, but I used to have that quote as like my screensaver on my phone, because every time I would look at my phone, it would just be a gentle reminder that it's like, it's okay to know something's coming. And because I know it's coming, that just makes me feel relief, which is the wish fulfilled for me. So it's like a little placebo for myself. So feel free to use it if it helps you. And now let's go to the next quote. So the next quote says, confident expectation of a state is the most potent means of bringing it about. Right then and there, right? So that's what he says. Confident expectation of a state is the most potent means of bringing it about. The confident expectation of a cure does that which no medical treatment can accomplish. And that's from Neville Goddard as well. And think about that. The first sentence, confident expectation of a state is the most powerful or potent means of bringing it about. That's the truth, guys. And think about it. I knew, and that's why Neville's teacher, Abdullah, would say, I did it, I'm doing it, I'm going to continue to do it until that which I have done manifests, right? Because he's telling you, he understands the more I return to fulfillment and become aware of being the Abdullah that has the solution, then it has to be inevitable. It gets thrusted as a future experience from within me. Because he fully trusted that he truly lived by the law. And that's what I did when I first discovered the law. It made no sense for me to have so much faith in something I never experienced and consciously applied. But it just made sense. Something in my soul just clicked and said, this you got to test it out. And that's why I had this expectation. It's like, because I keep feeling loved by her and I kept feeling fulfilled and I felt wealthy and like my bills were taken care of and money was an issue. I just knew the same way that my bad experiences that I went back and I thought of how did I manifest them. And I saw how what I felt matched the experience the same way. I had that same expectation because I saw in the past how I manifested many bad things in my life, including the good. So the same way that I kind of reflected on that, I then understood I could have expectation that it's going to change. Because what are the odds that I'm going to be the first person that literally, doesn't, that like debunks the law? Like, what are the odds of that? I'm not going to be the first one to debunk the law, right? So I just tested it for 30 days. I had an open mind. I didn't expect anything for 30 days, but I just knew something had to happen. And lo and behold, that's what happened, because I kept doing the work. And because I kept doing the work, I could then expect the result. It's the same thing as going to the gym, guys. If you know you're going to the gym and you know you're eating clean, yes, you're not going to lose weight that same day. And yes, you're not going to lose weight maybe the next day, but maybe 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, 5 weeks in, you finally start seeing the results of your hard work and your effort. And the person who understands this is going to go through those first few weeks understanding, I'm not going to make much changes. But they understand one day they're going to wake up and boom, the whole world's going to change. And they're going to realize, oh my God, my body caught up. It's the same concept, guys, okay? So when you understand by doing the work, same thing like going to the gym, you can then expect the results. But if you're sitting there doing the work and then you're not expecting the results, you're kind of hindering yourself. Because think about it. Imagine if you have a good mental diet day today, right? And let's say you're halfway through your day. And halfway through your day and you recognize, I didn't feel lack at all. I was aware of the things that I didn't like. I was aware I didn't have my desire, but I didn't react to it. And instead, I was just neutral about it. I was indifferent. And when I do crave my desire, I only go to fulfillment. So therefore, my whole day has been perfect so far, or close to it. And therefore, it has to reflect sooner than later. And just thinking of that, it's so easy to just kind of be relieved and feel happy. And without realizing, you're kind of in the wish fulfilled again, because now you're thinking ahead, right? You're in the future again. You're somewhere you're not matching where you are physically, because you're thinking of what's to come. And now you're aware of it, and now you're embodying it without even trying. So remember, guys, play around with that. Expectancy is so damn powerful. I'm telling you, it's something that changed my life, and it's something that to this day I still play with. I'm always expecting things because I understand the actions within have to come. And if I know I'm making the right actions within and observing the scary parts, then there's nothing for me to do other than expect the results at a time that I'm not sure of. So it might be today, it might be tomorrow, it might be next week. Who knows? I just know it takes some time for my beliefs to become natural. And once they become natural, that same day they're going to reflect. Okay, guys? So on to the next quote. So the next quote is from Joseph Murphy, by the way. And let's dive right into it. So it says, keep your conscious mind busy with the expectation of the best, and your subconscious will faithfully reproduce your habitual thinking. It's the same concept, guys. It's exactly what I've been talking about in this video. And when you keep expecting the best, so you think of your goal, let's say it's love, you then go straight to the wish fulfilled of being with your person. And now because you felt that love with your person and you trust the law and you understand that what you do within yourself gets thrusted as a future experience into your 3D, then you realize, okay, guys, it's not a matter of, oh, I just did this thing and now, oh, it didn't come here. I guess I gotta feel sad and lack now. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to understand, when you see the best in your mind and you expect the best, right? And you're, as it says here, you keep it busy with the expectation of the best. In other words, you think of your person, or you think of your money, or you think of your health, whatever it is, and you understand, oh, because I've done the work, it's on its way. And now you're thinking what it looks like when on its way arrives here now. So in other words, you're jumping to the future, and you're jumping ahead of the timeline that you're currently at. You're leaving this current timeline and you're going straight to another one where in that reality, instead, you have the solution. Because think about it. If all of you right now were to instead, I tell you right now, imagine you won $100 million in the lottery. And I do this with clients all the time to kind of prove a point. So imagine you win 100 million and you hand in the ticket to the government office and they tell you in the next 60 days, check your mailbox from starting tomorrow to 60 days. And you will have the check there. So you wake up, let's say 3 days from today, and you check your mailbox, nothing. No check yet. Your brain, when you start now thinking of cars and money and traveling and bills and everything, even though you saw no check, you still knew it's coming and you still have this expectancy. So you're not looking at your bills and the stuff coming in as like, oh my God, how can I afford it? No, you understand, I just got to make it through this until it arrives. And you have a full trust that it's going to arrive because you saw the evidence of it already, right? You handed the ticket over. The difference with manifesting, though, is you have to understand the evidence is within you and you can give it to yourself, and you have to trust that evidence that you give to yourself. So if I was to embody being loved by someone that I wanted, just as many people watching this, most people are here for SP. So if I'm manifesting an SP and then I think of her, and then I think of her being in my bed, for example, let's say right now she's in my other room where I have my bedroom, right? So if I know that person's in my bed waiting for me to finish this video so I can go smother her with affection and kiss her on the cheeks and tell her I missed her and cuddle up and fall asleep or something. So if I knew that and I contemplated that, I'm excited if I really just playfully pretend that that's true. And now because I got excited and I embodied being that person who temporarily believed that she was there, I technically embodied the wish fulfilled. And now I know, hey, I planted that seed, it's already on its way. So now when I think of her, technically, if all I do is just understand, hey, that one seed I planted was enough. She's on its way. How good does it feel knowing she's on her way? And right there, I enter the wish fulfilled again. And I just recycle that in fun, different ways. And sometimes I'm going to think about her and, doing different activities. Maybe I'm going to go shower. And that has me then thinking of, oh, yeah, we would be showering together. Yeah, I would love to shampoo her hair and be affectionate with her and hold her and just, even hug her as the water hits us. These little moments that are intimate and cute, maybe that pops up into my mind and it's something I genuinely crave. Okay, great. Then in that moment, I would feel what it would feel like once again to be in that moment. And because I planted that seed, I can now have the expectancy that it's on its way. And if I expect that it's on its way, I just don't know the date, but I just know it's on its way. I can then once again go back to being fulfilled. And that's why expectancy is so powerful, because when you expect something, you remove all doubt. And when you have no doubt, it only leaves space for love and fulfillment. So that's why, guys, it's so vital that when you are manifesting anything, you simply jump to the wish fulfilled before you even give yourself time to focus on the negative and then react to it and give it life. No. Catch your brain and train it. Whenever it pops up in your head, go straight to fulfillment when you crave it. And if you're not craving it, then just keep doing what you're doing and let them hang around the goal in your brain. Let it hang around in your brain, but don't react negatively. Understand your job is to observe the same way God would, and only choose what God reacts to. So when something scary pops up in my brain, I understand, yes, that's a reality. Yes, it's something that can affect me negatively. Yes, it's something I can experience if I continue to return to the wish fulfilled for this crappy reality. But I'm not going to do it. And therefore, I'm not going to experience that. And that's why I can be at peace observing that crappy little thought and just understand, yeah, you're just a reality. And you're a set of beliefs that has a reality attached to it. I get it. No problem. I don't have to react to it. And just like that, it leaves you alone. And now I can focus on what I prefer instead. And that's the beautiful part about the law, guys, okay? So make sure that whenever you embody your states, and you're staying consistent, to remind yourself, hey, because I've been consistent, it has to reflect. That is law, period. Okay, guys? So just remember, it's always about being consistent. And if you're consistent, you can then expect it. But if you're wavering, then obviously you're going to have a harder time expecting it, because you're going to recognize, hey, I've spent half the day in a lax state, or more than half. Then it's going to be harder to believe it. But trust me, when you're on a roll, one good day will lead to 2 good days. 2 good days will lead to 3. And when you're on that journey, trust me, and now you can start expecting it, because you know you've been doing the work. You know you refuse to identify with anything other than having your desire, or just being neutral when you're aware of it, but you don't crave it. If you do these things, I promise you guys, you will see movement. You will see your results. And I'm not going to guarantee it happens within 30 days, but I promise you, 30 days is plenty of time to change some beliefs around. So no matter how afraid you guys are, remember, when you're living by the law, you can then expect the results. But if you're not living by the law, then you're not going to be able to expect the results, because you're going to be all over the place. So with that being said, guys, I love you guys forever and always. And thank you for watching. If you hit the like button already, thank you. And if not, then if this video taught you anything, then hit that like button and subscribe. And I can't wait to see you guys in the membership. So with that being said, I forgot to mention that I will probably be dropping the first membership video on Friday the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. And I will be announcing in the community post tab for the members when the first live will be, very, very soon, probably in the next like 7 to 10 days. So stay tuned, guys, and I love you all very much.